Hello, my name is Jodi Low, and this is the Leadership Lowdown, powered by the BBB and You and Improved. The Leadership Lowdown cuts through the clutter and gets to the heart of what makes businesses tick. We want to share the stories that matter to you, all of the successes and triumphs and all of the pitfalls, and everything that happens in between. So with that, let's get on to today's show. Well, welcome to the Leadership Lowdown. I am here with Raji Brar, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Countryside Corporation. Did I get all that right?
You got it perfectly right.
Perfect.
Yay.
Well, and you are my new friend because we were just chit-chatting before we even jumped on the mics, and I am fascinated about your story. I did get a little sneak peek of a little bit about you, but I'm so excited for listeners and viewers to delve in. So tell us a little bit, first and foremost, tell us, you are from Fresno, born and raised.
Absolutely, yes. So I was really excited because I was born in Fresno. My family's here.
So great.
I grew up here, but we moved to Bakersfield when I was starting junior high.
Okay.
So Fresno, Bakersfield, it's home.
Yeah.
It's the Central Valley. This is all home for us.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm happy to be here.
That's wonderful.
yes.
I'm so happy you're here. And I am not from here, so it's fun to be in someplace
I
new and meet all new people. And
know.
like I said, just hearing a little bit about you and your story is just fascinating. So tell us, you grew up here, your family is still here, and you're in business with your family. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'll give you a little background.
Yes.
For those folks that here in the Central Valley are pretty familiar with, I'm a first-generation Punjabi Sikh American.
Oh, nice.
So my family immigrated to California back in the 60s and the 70s.
Okay.
And a lot of Punjabi Sikhs that came in that time started as farm workers in the fields. Because back home in Punjab, farming is like in our DNA.
Yeah.
And here now, a lot of my cousins and aunts and uncles, they're big-time farmers.
Sure.
But they all started, though, just as farm workers. And so that's what my parents did. They started as farm workers. We grew up in areas in Fresno County, like in the rural areas, like Biola, San Joaquin, Kerman, these like small rural towns, but farming nonetheless. And like I said, it's in our DNA. But then eventually my dad moved us to Bakersfield, the big city. And I joke,
it was big time then.
The name should already give you a warning. Is it not the big city you think it is? But for us, we actually moved into the city instead of living in the rural areas. So for us, it was a big drastic change. And the way we got into entrepreneurship is through my dad.
Okay.
End of story. I think anybody who comes to this country, first of all, already is an entrepreneur in their blood because you are leaving what you know to come to a whole new place and start from scratch.
Absolutely.
So when we went to Bakersfield, my dad, he started working. First, he got a job like at a cat litter factory. And then he got like his supposed dream job. And I know most people would be like, is this a dream job or not? But he got a job working in the post office.
Oh.
So for him, this was like he had made it. Like he was in America, the greatest country in the world.
Yeah.
He was working for the federal government. So he was really excited.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Good stuff. So here he is now. He's a postmaster. Not a postmaster, but delivering mail. And my mom, she went from working in the fields to working at Burger King. So because she was not educated, so she, even though she speaks English, she had never gone to formal school. So that's what my mom did. My dad did have an education, but the post office was where he was like really excited to work. But the entrepreneurial aspect of his life came in through the post office. And you'd wonder why? How could that happen?
Yeah.
Well, what my dad was doing is while he was delivering mail, he saw so many houses that were listed for sale by owner. And he was like, wait a minute. He sparked an idea to do real estate. And so that's what my dad did. He got his real estate license. And what he would do is during delivering mail, he would write down the people's numbers that were houses for sale by owner. And then he'd cold call them and convince them to let him list their properties. And I kid you not, my dad became like the top selling agent.
That is amazing.
Right? So like he would deliver mail during the day, sell houses on the evenings and weekends. And with that money that he made in real estate, this is the key because people in business always think, oh my gosh, it's so lucrative. Yeah, well, there's one important thing. You have to save money. So what my dad did with his real estate earnings is he was saving it. Didn't touch it. And us kids kept, he was raising all of us, through school, all the things. My mom was working and he kept working, but he kept saving the money from real estate, from his sales. And then eventually what he did is he invested in his first convenience store. This is in the 90s, like 1990. And he had a partner with him who actually he met through a real estate transaction.
Okay.
And he bought this little rundown rinky-dink store in Oildale. And if you know anything about Kern County, Oildale is a little rough part of our city. And that was his first business
getting
venture.
into business. That's fantastic.
Business.
And so he starts this and then has grown it to quite a business. My goodness. So you work all sorts of franchises. Like Subway, Pizza Hut.
So what happened? So my dad had this one gas station, and my brother and I, my siblings, we were going through high school, and we said what everybody else said: I'll never work in the family business, you know? And then you get in the real world and you get the real world paycheck, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute.
Let's talk about that family business.
About the family business. But at that time, my dad, he'd gone to he had about 2 gas stations, but he was still working in the post office, saving his money. And my brother and I had graduated from college. And that's when my dad had reached out to me. And he called me one day, and I was sitting at my job, and it was for a healthcare firm. And he asked me if I wanted to open a Subway sandwich shop in the city of Arvin. And I remember I jumped up from my desk because I did not like what I was doing at the time. And I said yes, because I couldn't wait to do something different.
Yeah.
And that was it. Went to this little town, opened this little Subway sandwich shop. And the way we've grown from 2 businesses to today over employing over 500 people and continue to grow is we decided to work together as a family unit, and everybody focused on their strengths.
Yeah.
And for me, I realized my strength was not that I was the world's best sandwich maker, but I realized I was really good with working with people. And I was good to help people achieve their leadership abilities.
Nice.
I was good. I was a great manager. I was able to groom managers. Then I was like, wait, we can take this concept, we'll open another location, and then we'll do another location. And we knew that we needed good people to grow with. And I would say that is how we have grown over the last decades. And to different brands, went from Subways to Taco Bell's, Pizza Huts, Me and Ed's Pizza, Valley favorite here, Me and Ed's Pizzerias. And then, again, my dad always had this vision of you know what? We would buy our own land. He was the agent. And then we started building our own businesses. So my brother is the contractor. He has his construction license. So from that, we now purchase our land. We build our own buildings. We run them ourselves. And then we started making our own shopping centers. And everyone in the family works together. And it's such a beautiful thing.
So special.
So that is how we've grown.
I love it. There's so many questions I have. So much to unpack.
Absolutely.
So tell us, you have all these brands.
Yes.
Why the diversification? Why and how do you choose who you want to?
Well, I think, you understand. I mean, in business, we all know we have to that whole adage, don't keep all your eggs in one basket. And diversifying is a smart way to self-insure yourself, I think, right? So I think that came with it. But for us, I mean, our bread and butter was the gas stations. And we realized with our gas stations, because they've changed, convenience stores are the fancy things nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get so many different options in it. Yeah. So we started with that and adding brands in our stores that were at travel locations like the Subways, even the Taco Bell Expresses. And then from there, we decided to do standalones because as the brands were growing and thriving over the years, we decided to invest in different brands. So that's where that came from, that concept. And but one thing that I think anybody listening to this podcast or understanding this about business is, you have to make sure that you don't overextend yourself. Yeah. And you're very mindful of your bottom line.
And that's more of where my mindset was going because when you diversify, there's a beauty in that in terms of, a protection piece and, again, the all eggs in one basket concept. And there's also, that piece as well where you're like, okay, how do we have that nice balance of the two?
Yes, absolutely. And for us, I think another blessing for us in disguise was learning from brands like Subway or Yum, which have organized systems in place. So we took best learnings from everywhere. Sure. So for me, I always tell everybody, I joke because obviously, number one, we all went to college, which I think is really important because you have to have a base. And then our spouses continued to work. In the beginnings of the journey, you have to make sure that you can support yourself and don't just rely. Again, put all your eggs in one business and think, oh, well, we'll see what happens. I think that's risky. Yeah. So we always made sure that our bases were covered, you know, and we're able to really pour into the business because I think that's really crucial. The first few years are just so critical.
Yeah, you got to pour into it.
So, but I think learning from those franchise setups was so important. And we took the best practices and then applied that to our gas stations and how we ran our operations. So I think that's also very key too, is you learn from corporations who've done it for generations and done a great job at it.
Yeah,
and
you take those best practices.
And you add your own flavor to it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned obviously the whole family working together.
Yes.
So that's an interesting dynamic because it can go very well. It can go very poorly. So how many family members are a part of this?
Everybody.
Literally, spouses and everyone.
Spouses and everyone.
Wow.
And I think it works out really great because we all handle a part that is specific to us.
Which is great.
When we
Play
all
your
realize
strengths,
we all need each other as well too.
Yeah.
And that has been really great. And I give credit to my dad and my stepmom as well. He was just real visionary about how he kept us involved in the business to make sure that we all played to our strengths.
Which is
so
great.
it's worked and it's been really beautiful. And I joke with folks, I go, you know, most people go on vacation, we go to work.
Yeah.
And I laugh about that, but it just becomes a part of your family and you. So there's really
there's no separating the two. Yeah,
and
it's just your DNA.
And I don't think
after
there's
a while.
anything wrong with that because, you know, it's just like if you have a family farm. And we have some farms.
Yeah.
Go figure. But it's just like in a family that farms together and works together.
Yeah.
And then the beauty of community. I mean, that's a huge aspect of being successful in business, especially retail or service-oriented.
Sure.
Is your community. And our family has been very blessed to have a very supportive community. We ourselves stay very engaged in the community because it's so crucial. Because your customers are the reason you're successful.
Right.
Your employees are the reason you're successful. Your community is the reason. And if you are not pouring back into your community, you know, there's an imbalance there.
Absolutely. And I know that you're very involved. What are some of those things that really speak to you that you're very engaged in? Because I know there's some public service and...
Yeah, I know. Isn't that interesting? So so I have like this other little facet of my life that again, is because of business and community. Was actually in the little town where I opened my Subway is folks would come there because it was like the brand new location. This was like 23 years ago.
Yeah.
And a nice place to eat. And people would, you know, when people are breaking bread, they talk about what's happening. And there was concerns with the city that they weren't really happy with. And the conversation would be like, well, what about you? Why don't you run for city council? And I was like, well, that's crazy. And they're like, but look, you're a business owner, you're educated, you're young. This was a long time ago. And I'm like, and a part of me didn't want to do it. Just out of the number one thing that I think stops all of us, which is fear. And just the thought of, oh my gosh, if I lose, I'll be so embarrassed. Like, you know, just those things.
Just the thoughts that pop into our heads.
But then, you know, you get enough folks to tell you, hey, why not? Let's do this. And I did. And it was the most amazing experience because one thing you do when you run for office is you canvass. You go door to door, you knock on doors and get to know your community. And every time I knock on her, like, it's the Subway lady.
Subway lady.
Wonderful.
I love it. I love it.
And I realized that I spend a lot of time with my customers. And literally, I won the election. Not only that, my business went through the roof because I
Everybody
literally
knew
went
who you
door
were.
to door and met everybody. And so that was like, again, it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for my business. And so sometimes think in business, we think, oh, this is all we do. But you do so much and it has so much to do with your community. And over the years, even though I'm not in elected office, I do serve in different positions appointed by the governor for different boards. But it's been really instrumental in our growth in our business because I think nowadays, as everyone is aware, that there's a relationship between business and government. We are regulated by the government. And if you are not involved or do not understand those aspects, it can be very detrimental to the success of your business. So that is another key thing we learned over time was just how important understanding regulations and government is. And specifically now as we've now are developers as well and develop our centers and understanding that is so key. So I always stress to business owners, again, even the ones that are like, well, I just have one restaurant. Well, yes, but you're regulated by the health department, the county, the city, you're paying taxes. You got to understand how all those things work.
Yeah.
And that's not something we get in college. Like nobody sits us down and goes, okay, you're getting a business degree and here's how you're going to fill out your your California tax forms. Nobody does that.
No one does
Nobody
that part.
says, this is how you get your EIN number. Nobody says, oh, here's the Better Business Bureau. They can help you.
Yes.
So those things you learn on your own. And I would say that in this last 25, 30 years of being in business, we've realized how critical it is to understand your local governments and your state governments.
Yeah. Well, and how great that you're involved and you're not just talking about it, but you're doing it and you're in it. And obviously being so community driven. Yeah. I know. Obviously, with the BBB, obviously focusing so much on doing things with morals and ethics and integrity. How does that parlay into the work you do? Obviously, you have so much of your family involved, so there's an inherent trust and love that comes from that. How do you bring that into the culture of all of your businesses?
Well, I think the fact that we are a family first organization, I mean, is so crucial to who we are. I always tell people that like the 3 pillars that our family is very important to us is our customer, our community, and our family. Like there's no separating those 3, right? Yeah. And so for us, that's in everything we do because we've had generations of family work with us, people who work with us and their kids work with us, people who got married at our businesses. And we live in our community. It's not like we're flying in from a different state.
Right.
So these are our neighbors. These are our friends, our relatives. And so I think that's the reason, obviously, that we've been able to grow and succeed is because the tenet of being ethical and loving and caring for your community is a part of everything that we do.
Yeah.
And so I think that's special. And I always think even if people say, oh, I'm just a small business owner, that is massive because it takes people who are willing to take that risk into their community. I think there's a beauty in that people don't realize that is to have the ability to say, I'm going to take the safety and security of my family, right? And I'm going to pour it into this concept.
Well, and if you think about it, like even just the story of your dad and what he was willing to do and to put himself out there, there is so much risk and reward in putting it all out on the line. And yes, he was working as he was doing it, but he was building something so special and lucrative that is now generationally making such an impact for not just your family, but so many families that you touch. And what a beautiful gift. And that you also had the opportunity to see the other side and be on the corporate side to say, wait, that isn't the path for me. And I do love this. And I am wired for entrepreneurship because I do believe that there is a wiring there that we have.
I think you're absolutely correct because I think it's folks that have a passion to work with other people. Yeah. And that translates I think that's why I love to do community work because I just think it is working with people, whether it's for your own business or your community work. But there is something about that really makes us come alive. Yeah. Like I can see right now, and you're same, you share this. Yeah. And I think that's the kind of personality you have to be a business owner, a successful one. Absolutely. You can't go into business and be like, I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah. You're like, I don't really like people. I don't want to talk to people.
That's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not going to work well. Well, I want to ask a few questions. These are part of the Leadership Lowdown that are just sort of fun. They actually originally come from a French talk show. Okay. And so we'll start off with this one. Okay. What is your favorite word?
My favorite word? Oh, wow. Why do I just... The first word that came to my head was courageous.
Ooh. So well, I think that's pretty fitting from everything you've said. Yeah. And it's like, why not open this? Why not do that? Yeah. So it's. I think it's a good one. What about your least favorite word?
Oh, no. No. Yeah. There's just such a negative connotation to the word no.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like even just in talking with you that it's. There's not really an obstacle that's insurmountable, especially, family coming to a new country, building something and right. Just there is no. No, there's no no. I love that. Yeah. I love that. What would you say turns you on creatively, spiritually, emotionally? Like what just brings Raji to life?
You know what? What brings me to life? This is going to sound injustice. In
you
so many ways.
And me both, girl. We're going to have some conversations offline. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this.
That gets me going. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I was just having a conversation with someone and I said, I am cool as a cucumber. I am happy-go-lucky. Yeah. Until. Yeah. And that's my tipping point. Yeah. And I'm like, I will mama bear out.
I'm the oldest, I'm the oldest sibling. So there's some of that, I think, where we're like, born to like stick up for our
Yeah,
family and
yeah.
our friends, and you have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I've noticed that gets me.
That gets you.
Yeah,
For sure.
all the time.
For sure. Yeah. What would you say just turns you off?
Oh, negative people.
Yeah.
Naysayers. I
Yeah.
don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I think also to be an entrepreneur and somebody who wants to keep growing, we have to be very mindful of people who let in our energy field or around us. And I always say this. I always talk about blinders. That keep your blinders on, because that's the negative people that'll just try to pull your attention.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, nah, nope.
Yep.
Just got to keep going forward.
Yeah.
And it sounds so basic, but it's so effective.
It 100% is. And again, okay, it's so aligned, because even in my trainings, I'll talk about, you've got to be like a horse with blinders. Like you
Yeah,
cannot look at
that's
left
it.
and right,
Straight.
competition and all that. That's great. But that's just noise and chatter. Like, where are you headed? What's your direction? What's your focus? What's your goal? And I love that.
Yeah,
I love
noise
that.
and chatter.
Yep.
I don't.
No space for that.
No.
space. Yeah. And the naysayers. Like, who needs that?
No.
Don't,
Yeah.
Don't tell us we can't do something.
Oh, and I think if you cannot do it, this is the country that, I mean, at the end of the day, I could not have this story or this journey anywhere else but here.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to tell people, no, like you can do anything you want.
Absolutely.
Just not saying that there's a timetable on it, yes, but there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, when we talk about the land of opportunity,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
not a joke. Well, and people are willing to swim across shark-infested waters and
There's a
do all
reason.
the things, to
be here.
able to have that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and so I think that's a huge guiding. It's a part of as a first gen born here. You cannot separate that from your identity.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
So like how do I not talk about myself in that?
Right. Well, and you saw your parents do it.
Oh, yeah.
You saw them do it.
Yeah.
That's the framework and the paradigm you grew up in.
Yeah.
So it's part of you. Absolutely. What sound or noise do you love?
Okay? The sound or noise I love
Uh-huh.
is, first of all, I love cooking for my family. So
Okay.
that's my whole. This is my Martha Stewart era.
Okay.
Right now. All right. So I'm in that
Martha
era.
Stewart era.
I've
I
been
love it.
cooking. And the best sound is
Uh-huh.
when my family and everyone is together and they're eating my food, and they're just all laughing and joking amongst each other.
Yeah.
And I can just be on the stove and listen to that. And to me, like, that is such that's success and peace and beauty and all the things.
I
So,
love
yeah,
that. What
that's
a
the thing.
fabulous. I can hear the sound through you.
Yeah.
So I love that.
That's my favorite
I
sound.
love that. And what a beautiful gift to cook.
Yes.
Cook for them. What sound or noise do you just
really?
just like?
Oh, wow. I guess I think it would be just, this sounds odd, but just because an ambulance, I would teach my kids, when you hear it, start praying for everybody. Everybody's okay. That,
Yeah.
'cause I know
There's something not good.
not good.
It's funny because that comes up every now and again as
Does
an
it?
answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is. Yeah. There's not something
not-
good on the other side
no,
of that. So
no.
that makes a lot of sense. So if you take every skill set and talent
Yeah.
out of it. So imagine you had whatever talents and skills. What profession other than your own would you love to attempt?
Okay, so meaning that I do not have this talent. Okay, so this might go a different way.
Like if you had any talent, you could do anything. Like
Oh.
what would that dream profession or career be?
I always say that if God had gifted me with a voice, I would be a singer.
Uh-huh.
I mean, but other than that,
Yep.
I don't feel like there's anything I can't do.
Yeah.
Does
I
that
love
make
that.
sense?
I love that. Yeah.
I just feel that way 100%. But I know that I cannot sing.
Yeah.
So let's just be real.
That's so funny. So my same answer is always that I'd be a singer, a dancer, like an entertainer. I'd be like
Right.
Pink or, one of those
Yeah,
One
but
of those.
I can't carry a tune.
No, I
Yeah.
have absolutely none of those gifts
But and
whatsoever.
I think it's such a blessing and a gift to be able to sing.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm like, shoot, I'll try it.
Yeah, you're like, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
I'm not
I love
afraid,
it.
yeah.
I love it. Is there a profession that you think, oh my gosh, that would just be the worst? I could never do that.
Really? Well, I'll say this. So I'm Indian. So take a wild guess what my parents wanted me to be. You can say,
I'm guessing it's medical.
yeah, a doctor.
I'm
And
guessing it's medical.
And I said I was always going to be a doctor until I really had to face it.
Yeah.
Like as I'm doing my bio degree. And I have a bachelor's in biology. But I had to really come to terms with that. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is not something I want to do at all.
Yeah.
And much respect to the physicians and doctors out there. But that was like a big turning point in my life. And I had to
coming to that crossroads.
coming to it. And it was not an easy decision. My parents were not happy. It was like their dream was shattered. But I had to really realize, like, oh my gosh, I cannot physically. I just could not do it. So I think I knew what that was.
Well, you knew what that was, and if you don't mind, I would love to ask because I've wondered about this, and you brought it up. So if I'm crossing a line, you can tell me. We can always edit.
No worries.
When you have a scenario in a family situation where there is a certain expectation of a career or a path, and there's a lot of pressure, and you choose to do something different, is there a moment? Is it a brewing inside of you? Like what gave you the confidence to have the courageous conversation? Like what? Tell us a little bit about that piece.
Again, so I'm a first gen Punjabi Sikh woman. Our culture is very patriarchal. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. But I was blessed to have, I feel, a very progressive father and mother. Even though maybe compared to my friends, it wasn't as progressive. Right. But to my culture and my cousins and family, they were a bit. Yeah. To a degree.
Right.
So I got to play the high school sports. Okay. Yeah. That was great. But no way cheerleading was going to happen. You get my point? Right.
Yeah.
All right. So there were
certain boundaries.
Things, and you're not going to prom, and you're not, so it was different. My brother got to do whatever he wanted. And I razzed him about it to this day. And the expectation was, there's our daughter. She's going to be a physician. She's smart in school, so she's going to be a doctor. And I would just be a parakeet. Yep, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. And then it was like, first one to go to college. Like when I say my whole family moved me to my apartment at UC Riverside, meaning like my aunts and uncles came and helped set up. Like, no pressure. Yeah. Like we're not putting our hopes and dreams on you, and you're going to do really great. So there was an immense amount of pressure because I knew if I came back, I'd be like, oh, she failed. Look, you guys wanted to send your daughter away to college. She just failed. And it was going to affect a lot of girls, I feel, in my culture and my community. Like, this is why we don't send girls away to college. This is, mind you, I'm 49 years old. Right. This was, times have changed, thankfully. Yes. But I was at that one last generation before the shift happened. So we were still fighting a lot of these things. And I just knew from a point, because I had gotten so down, and I think almost to a point of like, I knew I was going to break if I didn't face it. And I had never had that feeling before in my life, but I knew this is different. Yeah. Like I was so down and out that if I don't say anything, like I think I'm going to just break. And I don't really know what that looks like, but it's not good.
Yeah, you just knew.
Yeah, and I was pretty depressed. And it was the scariest thing I had to do because I just, like this is the family. The family came with like, $7 in my pocket, and we worked in the fields, and you don't want to, this is tough for you. But I knew something inside of me that this wasn't the right direction for me. And I think when you hear that calling, like you got to answer it. Yeah. And so I think I did it. I bit the bullet.
You just trusted yourself and your knowing and followed that. I had to.
And probably one of the best decisions I ever made for my life, because I would not be sitting here with you today if I didn't. Yeah. And my parents were more understanding than I thought they would be. Okay, good. Yeah. So
it turned out better than maybe what you
it did it. And years later, I served on the board of our hospital, and I told my dad, I go, hey, I get to hire doctors. Does that help? And he didn't think that was funny.
He's like, that's not funny.
That's not funny. But
you're like, come on.
Come on, Dad.
Too soon. It's been a while.
It wasn't funny. But, I say that because I think in our lives, we have to answer that call of what we're supposed to be. What does it look like? And for me, as a young 19, 20-year-old, to come to be able to have the guts and courage to like tell my parents was so tough. Yeah. Like, it was one of the toughest things because I knew they would have got ridiculed from people. Like, you wasted all that money. Yes. Your hard-earned money, and here she is. She's back.
Well, and it's interesting because you were already just so self-aware of what the impact of your decisions could be on your family. And obviously the tying of all that your family built and all of that sense of responsibility that was put on you.
And the older sibling.
Yeah, the oldest and all the things.
And then I think how beautiful, because I wouldn't have got to have all these amazing experiences and help our family grow throughout the years. And so I think, I always tell people, what you are so afraid to do is probably the right thing you need to do.
That thing that's gnawing at you, that's probably the thing. I love it. I love it. Well, to wrap us up, take this out of the context of what it's meant,
Sure.
but if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, welcome home.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that will be many, many, many moons from now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, what a pleasure having you on today. And I would love to wrap up too with just any word of wisdom or lesson learned that you would love to share with our listeners or viewers that's been impactful for you?
Well, I think that whatever you talked about heaven and the gates, I think whatever your faith is or your spirituality, whatever speaks to you, I think you have to pay attention to that because you are not separate from that. Like business, you don't just say, okay, I'm this business person, but I'm this spiritual person. There's no way. It's one and the same. Yeah. You are that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you show up as that person, you will be successful in whatever you're doing, whatever you touch.
100%.
So I think there's so much of whether it's our schooling or things like that separate that for us. There's no separation.
Yeah.
You are who you are. You should be that same person you are at home as you are in business.
100%.
And that authenticity is what makes you successful.
I love it.
And that's the number one thing. And I teach my kids that all the time. I'm like, be fearless, be who you are, and you will always, be successful or walk in the light or however it speaks to you.
Yeah. Whatever that is for you, just be true to that.
Yeah. And I think
star.
that's what it's based on. And so I think faith, spirituality, whatever speaks to you is so key and so critical. You can't separate it.
That's awesome. Well, I have so enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah,
I know our listeners and viewers will as well. Raji, thank you so
Yeah.
much for being with us today.
Absolutely.
And with that, this has been the Leadership Lowdown. My name is Jodi Low. Thank you for joining us. And remember, leaders are learners, so stay curious and keep leading with love. And remember, you can catch our show every Thursday morning. And the best way to keep up with new episodes is to subscribe on YouTube, Apple, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts.